Welcome to the OhioRAAM Show.
Well, hello, it's Lee Kreider here with the OhioRAAM Show, a show about ultra cycling. My partner Jim isn't here tonight. He has a paying job. This job doesn't pay anything, despite the fact that I keep increasing and decreasing his salary. So he had problems, and there he is. Solving a IT problem with one of his customers. And so you're stuck with me. And I always fumble around because Jim and I share a workload. I do some things, he does some other things, and it all works out pretty well. But I've got a whole bunch of buttons here in front of me, and I've got all of them tonight. So you'll just have to put up with that. We just do the best we can. Now, I'd say right off the bat, the reason it's Nurses Week last week, those of you who might be nurses out there know it was last week, not this week. And I put it up here because I'm in hot water. I, in my life, have been married to two great nurses. One who lost her life to cancer a great many years ago. And I didn't have good sense. I went and married another nurse. And this week, lo and behold, Nurses Day slipped by me, and I forgot. And so I am trying to redeem myself by telling the whole wide world who watches the OhioRAAM Show what wonderful people nurses are, and we've certainly learned that in the last couple of years. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I hope, dear, that redeems me. Maybe it will. I don't know. Who knows? Well, we're here because of the good people who operate the time stations, Race Across America time stations here in Ohio. Time station 41 in Oxford, 42 in Blanchester, 43 in Chillicothe. There's one more time station in Ohio over there in Athens. So far, we haven't been able to staff it. Jim keeps telling me he's going to pull it off, and if anybody can, he will. And we also want to talk to you about, remind you, this is where the signs are, starting from middle Indiana to the middle of Ohio. Mike Minium puts out about 200 signs every year, loses about a third of them. It's costing him more and more to replace the signs, like everything else. They're going up. And you can help Mike by going to our website, OhioRAAMshow.com. I'll put that up there in just a little bit. But I wanted to say that on that website, let's see if we can't get that up. And I don't know why it's not doing it. Here we go. On our website here, right at the top, you'll see a place where you can donate some money to Mike to help him with those signs. They cost about $4 a piece. He loses about 50 or 60 every year. He pays for it out of his own pocket, and give him a little help. Now, if you are on the Race Across America, or you are stopping by one of our time stations here in Ohio, you can get one of those signs if you donate $10. You pick one of those signs up. They're a great souvenir, great place to collect souvenirs, great place to collect signatures for your crew or what have you, people around the time station. Get a Sharpie pen, write on them. I see them all the time in the background of our guests, so they're getting out there. We can't send them. It's just too expensive to package them in a way they won't break. And so that's just impossible. But a $10 donation at any one of our 3 time stations gets you a sign. And that helps Mike put another sign on the road. We used to say 2, but costs have gone up. And so help us out by going to our website there. And the website is OhioRAAMshow.com. And while you're there, you'll notice over on the right-hand side, down in this area here where you see the flickering, We've got a lot of links to the Race Across America website and other information that will help you. A good place to go and find out about the race, the Hillier board, the tracker. The rule book is there. Hey, people, baseball fans know the rules, football fans know the rules. You'll be able to follow the Race Across America and learn more about it, know more about it. Just go in there and click on that. The rule book's, I don't know, 30, 40 pages long. And you'll learn a lot about how this race works by just reading the rules. And the link is right down here somewhere on there. Also, there are links to Dex Took's roll call and his solo roster list. That roll call has more information from the entire history of the Race Across America than you can ever imagine. So don't overlook those. Okay, let's get all the stuff that Jim wants to talk about here. The people who help us here by giving us a lot of support, the Race Across America, of course, Spiegel Bikes, Infinity Seats, and of course, our host cities, Oxford, Blanchester, Chillicothe, and the $10 Bicycle Club. Let's see, I got to keep looking over here and see what I've had. All right. We want to make sure everybody that comes in here, make a comment of some kind. Just check in. Tell us where you're from. Just say, I'm from Duluth, Minnesota, or wherever you might be. We'd like to learn that. Or if you have a comment or question about our guests, do that. And that's going to put you in a hopper here. We're going to spin that hopper at the end of the show. And tonight, I think what we're going to do is give another mouse pad away. That's the easiest thing to do. These coveted mouse pads, or is it mouse pad? I don't know. It's something. These coveted items are hard to come by, and the best way to get a hold of one is to put your name in the hopper, and at the end of the show, we'll spin it and see who in the world gets that. We want to make sure that you follow the show. If you're on Facebook, be sure and hit that follow button at the top. On YouTube, we've been getting a little increase there. We were happy with it. If you're following it down there, first of all, there's a reminder button there ahead of the show that can set your time. But down here on the right is a subscribe button, and next to it, hit that bell and you'll get notifications of future shows. And next week's show, we're going to have one of Ohio's, we've adopted him, Giovanni Prosperi. He's riding under the flag of Italy, but he lives in Cleveland. He's doing the Race Across the West in 2022. We always like to give our Buckeyes, he's the Italian Buckeye, or the Buckeye Italian here, their due, and we'll do that next week. Nice number of people visiting out here, and I already have some. Let's see. Daniel Jones from Ypsilanti. No, I was going to say, I won't try to pronounce that. California. And Tami's training partner. Okay, well, we'll get to her pretty quick here. Glad to have you with us. So let's bring Tami in. You're in California. How are you, Tami?
I am good. That's you, Kaipa.
Got to boost your speaker a little bit there. I think your mic's okay, just on my end. Glad to have you here. And your team partner for Dos Amigos is Bob Larson. Hi, Bob. How are you?
Hi there. I'm good.
Very well. Glad to have both of you here tonight with us. And you are Team Dos Amigos. Well, let's start out with Tami. Tell us about yourself and how you got into cycling, and how you got into ultra cycling.
I just lack common sense, I think, and I just started riding and, kept going farther and farther distance. I think it's only been in February of 2019, I did my first 200-mile ride. And then that same year I did 500, and last year I did Race Across the West, and now just going for the big one.
You're going to do the Race Across America as a two-person team, right?
Yes.
And okay, well, Bob, same question.
Well, I started I'm here in Arizona, and I started with the Randonneur group, which those of you who don't know about Randonneuring, it's the definition is long distance, uncompetitive cycling, and pretty active group here in Phoenix. They'd schedule four rides in the spring, 4 in the fall, and they're 200, 300, 400, 600 kilometers. So I've been riding with them probably the last 9 to 10 years. And then last year with RAAM, Race Across the West, that was the first time I did a race. So, but I met in one of the Randonneuring events, I met a guy from Tucson who talked about doing RAAM. In fact, he was training for it back, this was 5 years ago, I believe. And so I learned about it then, and really kind of wasn't on the radar at all to do. But I guess I saw him again. He suggested that I try it.
And now, how did you two meet?
Well, we met on Race Across the West last June. Tami and her husband's her crew chief, and it seemed like we were riding the same pace for 91 hours all the way to Durango, and we got to know him pretty good over that period of time. And then Tami asked me to do the RAAM after that was over.
Well, it was funny because I kept saying, "Where's Bob? Where's Bob?" And they're like, "Who's Bob?" And I'm like, "He's the other guy out here riding." It was kind of funny. And then towards the end, we were riding, we were a little closer. And yeah.
Okay, so having done the Race Across the West, you have both had an experience with dealing with the heat, and I guess last year it was worse than ever, particularly at night. It didn't cool off, as I was told. How did you deal with the heat? What did you learn from it? What will you do different this year?
Go ahead, Tami.
I learned that my husband would spray me off with a sprayer in our van, and I got too wet. So I will not be getting that wet this year. And yes, the heat was miserable. I laid in the van with ice on me, and yeah, I didn't want to get out of the van half the time and start pedaling again, but I did. But this year, hopefully, switching off, regularly, we won't be in the heat as long and we can cool down. That's my hope. And hope it won't be as hot.
Don't count on that. Bob.
Well, my friend Mark from Tucson, who did RAAM like 5 years ago, before I did it last year, I called him. I said, "Mark, give me 2 or 3 things that I probably won't expect, but I'm going to run into." And so he said, or he said, and I also said, "What's the best way to finish RAAM?" And he gave me 2 things. He says, "You want to make sure you get to Yarnell in 30 hours or less without sleeping." And I kind of joked when he told me that, but that was the actual truth, because I don't think if I would have got there if I would have slept before Yarnell, I would have never made it. And the other thing he said is to use ice collars. We put ice in a tube sock, and you put it around your neck and tuck into your jersey in the afternoon during the desert. And that saved me. And without that, no way I would have finished.
What kind of rotation did you use? Was it often enough? Will you change that strategy at all?
The rotation of the
between you and wait a minute. I'm sorry, you were both doing single last year.
We were both doing
you?
solo.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay, let's try a different way then. What kind of rotation will you plan in the desert, and will that be changing?
Everything is open. We're going to try for 1 hour polls, but if it is really hot, then we'll break quicker if we have to. It's whatever happens, you can't plan. You just gotta see what's happening and wing it.
Okay. So you're going to go a little further this year. Tell us about your crew, their support.
Go ahead,
You want
Tami.
to go for it? It looks like we have 13 crew members this year, and we have an RV and a van and another vehicle to follow us. And yeah, I think they're all going to be great people, and they're going to get us to the finish line.
Yeah, I think we have a great crew. Tami has brought most of them in from her California group, and I have a couple from Arizona. 3 of us, or 2 from Arizona, 1 from Minnesota, but 3 that I'm bringing. And I would say half of them have some experience, and certainly Randy has a lot of experience. So yeah. I think we're in pretty good shape. It's going to make a big difference knowing the crew. I think will make a big difference for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, I need some help from you people out there because I'm alone here. I don't have my handy partner. So I've got a nice little group out there watching, but I need some questions or comments here to help me along, please. And if nothing else, tell me where you're from, because that puts your name in a hopper to win one of these wonderful OhioRAAM show mouse pads at the end of the show. They're suitable for framing, I might say.
I think there is a question. I think Randy said he tried to type in a question, and
it didn't show up.
Yeah. So we were wondering, Bob, you got off course by an hour, I think, last year. We were wondering what happened.
Oh, that was in Prescott. I took a left turn instead of a right turn in Prescott because my navigation, my computer didn't like going through the desert. So I lost navigation after right before Congress. And so I was relying on my crew for directions, and we left Prescott in the morning, and they were going to get supplies, and they wrote me a little handwritten directions, and I misinterpreted. And when I should have been taking a right to go up to Jerome, I took a left, and it cost me about an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, that's always painful, isn't it?
And most of it was uphill.
Yeah. By the way, I'm getting a message here. It may be that Facebook comments aren't coming through. I'm not sure. I don't know how to interpret what's I got here. But if you're on Facebook, send me a message of some sort. Just let me know that that's working. And goodness sakes, please help me out here with some questions. Here's Jim Prout. What's your preparation nutritionally? Thanks, Jill, for that. That's wonderful.
Well, last year on Race Across the West, I did most of it on powder from Hammer Products, and then I had some real food towards the end, which was helped break it up a little bit. But that works pretty good for me. Now, this being 9 days or less, I'm gonna definitely switch it up a little bit more. But the Hammer Products work good for me. The Perpetuum mostly, and then the electrolyte mixes works well. And then as far as food, anything that's bland that won't bother my stomach, I just substitute in there intermittently.
I ate hot dogs.
Yeah, you're my girl. No, hot dogs, no, but Hamburgers, maybe.
Yeah, I asked for 2 hot dogs and 1 bun, and it worked. Hot dogs and Pop-Tarts. This year I won't be doing that. I'll be better this year.
What was it? Lon Haldeman, the first um, person, the first winner of the race, called Great American Bike Race at that time. I think he kind of lived off of Big Macs and milkshakes, didn't he? I don't know why that runs in my mind. Thanks, Doug, for the. We did get a Facebook reply, so apparently it is working. What kind of bikes are you riding?
Go ahead, Tami.
I have a Factor Slick that I'll be riding and a 3T. Those are mine.
And mine's a Specialized Roubaix, and then I'll also have a Moots road bike, a titanium bike.
Okay, very well. Randy says no hot dogs and Pop-Tarts. Apparently, he's going to be looking after you. Well, before we go any further, I want to talk about your charity. What is it? And again, we'll talk a little bit about how people can find out more about it.
So the charity I chose is the Alzheimer's Foundation. So we were taking care of my mom for about 5 years and just watching her suffer with that and all the changes that she went through. And there's just not a lot of resources for people suffering from that, themselves or caregivers when the family takes care of them. So, this is just kind of close to my heart. So that's why I picked that just after, all the struggles we went through with my mom.
Okay. And we have a link again on our website here. Let's see if I can find that. Again, this is where I miss Jim. OhioRAAMshow.com. Below the video of the show, you will see a show notes, and on there is a link to the website. Okay. Tami, one of the things I discovered through some family situations here, one of the problems we run into is to get some services, some people find out they're too rich.
Yes.
And too rich isn't much money.
No.
A person has tried to, they say you ought to have a certain amount of money for an emergency and so forth. And us people our age, we understand that. You try to put some money in the bank. And when you go to look for services, they look, well, how much money you got in the bank? Mm-hmm. And it ain't that much, believe me. I don't know how it is in your states. I think it varies a little bit from state to state. And people are dumbfounded to be told that they got too much money for the services that are available. Or if they can get them, when they die, the state's going to come and take it.
Yeah.
And that just seems so unreasonable and unfair all the way around. And I hope that that's something the foundation can help with a little bit.
I think anybody that needs it should be able to get it regardless. They should be able to get the help they need or the resources they need and connect to different people to help them.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people out there have had, if they haven't had an immediate family member, they've had someone they know. I have at least 2 friends right now who are caregivers and are struggling with that. Another friend who just lost his wife, a year and a half, 2 years ago, was a caregiver up until he could no longer do that. And that's often happens at some point. An individual in a home can't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's a very devastating disease. But the number of people who suffer from this are rather astounding, Tami.
Yes. Yeah, we were lucky. We were able to keep my mom with us the whole time. here in the house and take care of her the best we could. It was challenging.
Okay, there's been some messages here. Let's get caught up on that. Lori Larson, watching from Sisters, Oregon. Go, Bob. I suppose that's somebody related to you in some way, Bob.
Lori's my sister-in-law in Sisters, Oregon.
Sister-in-law in Sisters, Oregon. Now, that's one town I've never heard of.
It's just not far from Bend, Oregon.
Okay.
I believe it's an hour away or so.
Do you pay attention to the scenery, or you're totally focused on the road ahead? Good question.
Hi, Jill Prout. Haven't seen you for years.
I like the scenery.
Yeah, we catch the scenery as well as focus on the road. But there's a lot of scenery to be seen, and that's one enjoyable part of it.
There is the remark I want to put down in capsule. There's a lot of scenery to be seen. I have said so often that until you have ridden across the United States from one side to the other, you have no idea how big this country is. And how remarkably diverse it is. And that's so true.
And doing it under 20 miles an hour, you get to really see it.
You see things that the guy going by at 70 and 80 never see.
Yep.
I know I had people, Eastern and Western Montana are two different states, essentially. And I was in the mountains of Montana headed east, and they said, you won't like Eastern Montana. It's so boring. Well, there's no speed limit in Montana. These people drive across there at 90 and 100 mile an hour, and crossing at a bike, you see things that people in cars miss.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so true. Randy says Alzheimer's close to him as his stepfather passed away from that difficult disease. It is devastating on the family.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the people with the disease, they don't have much thought about it, but it is hard on the family. Watching from Sisters, Doug Chivington. What kind of follow-up vehicles we'll be using? Thank you, Doug, for helping me out. Anybody else that can, go to it.
So we will have we'll have a Sprinter van, and we will have a Highlander.
Okay. Thank you for the dogs. We love dogs. My dog isn't here. I have a dog camera here.
Sorry about that.
He normally is right over there, but he's not here tonight. I don't know where he's at. He's doing something else.
That's my grand dog.
Your grand dog. Well, that's good. I love dogs. I dearly love dogs.
Gracie, the grand dog, and then we have a new baby in the family. It's 9 days old.
Well, somebody knew that, saying congratulations on being a new grandpa.
Grandpa for the first time as of last week.
Okay. Well, great. So you will be riding, that brings up a question, in the 50-59 age category. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What's your goals?
My goal is to finish in 9 days or less. Tami, what's
Well, everybody, around me thinks I should be done in 7 days, but I want to finish, but quicker is better. It'd be nice to finish 7-8 days. That'd be nice.
Okie dokie. Does anybody want to get in on this wonderful opportunity to win a mouse pad from OhioRAAM show? Put a comment in there quickly, because we're gonna spin this thing here pretty soon. I better get up there. We got a few entries, but there's more and more of you out there. I know that. Well, what would you like to tell us before we go? Have we missed anything? What would you like to share that? Thank you,
I just
sponsors.
want to say thanks for Tami for doing a lot of this organizing with her crew and her vehicles. Without this help, I would never be able to do this race with all the logistics that's required. And I'm just feel lucky that she asked me to. She roped me into this last summer. RAM was not on my radar at all until Tami called, and that was late summer. And then I had to give. I needed about 2 or 3 months to think about it before I said yes. But I think I agreed in somewhere around October, November.
Yeah.
And then, but it's been fun. It'll be a fun challenge. Definitely a challenge.
Yep. I think we have a great group of people with us, and we're easygoing, and we got this.
Do you listen to music? Daniel Jones wants to know. Do you either listen to music while you're riding?
I think, yeah, Tami does. I haven't. I might start. I haven't so far. I pay attention to the traffic, and that keeps me occupied. But I do a lot of thinking, and I don't know. Maybe I sing to myself. I'm not sure what I do, but
yeah, I never liked music. I didn't care for it while I was riding. I liked it skiing. I always enjoyed it while I was skiing somehow, but not riding. Let's see what else we got here. Randy Yarnell with both of you in 23 hours. Okay, we'll see how that goes. And Doug again wants to know what your training like.
As much as possible. Go ahead, Tami.
I ride 6 days a week, and I do other core and strength training. That's mine.
Remind me, Bob, of somebody asked Eddie Merckx once how he trained, and he said, I ride a lot.
That's pretty much my formula. I don't set my alarm, and whenever I get up, I leave, and then I have to be at my house at 9 o'clock. So if I get up early, it's a longer ride.
Okay, very good.
So
what do you think about, Bob? Good question, Lori. You get the prize for the question of the evening.
I think about my sister-in-laws, of course.
Okay, very good. Well, listen, we're going to run this drawing here if I can get this thing to work. Oh, Jim, where are you? Where are you? Let's see. Is this the way I want it? Is this the way I want it? I guess. I don't know. Let's try this. Okay, here we go. Don't have too many people in here, but we'll do it just the same. And you think you've won, and then you find out you haven't. Doug wins again. I think he's already got a mouse bet. I don't know. We'll give him another one, but he's a good guy. Hey, listen, Doug Shivington, I am recruiting you on the air to be my backup person when Jim's not here. In fact, I might just make you a part of it right off the bat because he's always watching the show, and he's helped me tonight with some questions here as I've struggled with all the buttons over here. Thank you, Bob, for being with us. Thank you, Tami, for being with us, for taking out time. We wish you well. We'll be watching for you here in the state of Ohio. We've got 3 great time stations staffed with people who are willing to ring a bell, shout at you. If your team can stop and say hello, that's fine. If they can't, we understand. Your job is to race, not stop and talk to us. But we're always happy to have people stop by and say hello. Also, for those of you who are just fans, Ohio is a great place to come and watch the show. watch the race, because in Ohio, the teams are catching up with the solo riders. So we're kind of compressing right here. You see a lot of people in a short period of time. And that's a great thing about what we have. And there's people at every station who can keep you informed. If you know anything about the race, they'll explain it to you. They know more about the race than some of the people who are racing it. Believe me, there's some really knowledgeable people around here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your questions and comments. Oh, by the way, I know Doug's chipping in that. I interrupted myself. I can't do that. I think I've taken care of all the business. If I haven't, just forgive me. I'm going to go find find our voice of OhioRAAM show, wake him up, and get us out of here. Don't go away, guys. We'll talk to you a little bit after we go off the air.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.